Did you talk about money seriously before you got married, or did it come after?
No, we did talk about money seriously before we got married. It was, I don't know exactly when that conversation came up, but well before we were even engaged, to be honest, just because we wanted to make sure, incomes aside, we wanted to make sure that we have the same mentality and the same feelings and objectives for our money, and same philosophy around what we want to have our money build for us in the future. So no, we did talk about it well before marriage.
Do you have goals set? Do you want to share some of the goals that you guys have?
I can, yeah. Obviously, I like everyone, we could separate our goals into kind of the shorter term, 0 to 3 or 5 year goals versus the more longer term goals. So we are renting yet. Short-term goal, we would like to own a house. A big piece of that for us is it's not necessarily all about the money, but figuring out where we want to be. That would be a shorter term goal. And then longer term, kids down the line, schools for kids, does one parent stop working? So talking about that, having a plan and goal for, income replacement. And then, the furthest goal, seeing as how we're only 31, but yeah, at one day, you and I were not going to be doing this, right? Turn the lights off for the final time and plan for that. So those are what I would consider our kind of short, medium, and longer term goal.
You brought up a little topic in there. You said, at some point we might not have, we might have one person stop working. So currently you fall into this category of what we like to acrimoniously call dinks, dual income, no kids. And how has that impacted, going from single to married? What are some benefits? What are some things you're seeing there?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of scale there, right? You go from living separately, so just the upfront cost of housing, but then it's all the little things too within the housing. It's the subscriptions that you pay for. It's the internet in the apartment. It is, a phone bill that might be individual and now is joint. There is a ton of scale and savings there. So then with that savings, right, it's being intentional and making sure that you don't just have the lifestyle creep takeaway. Like, oh, look, I have this extra, call it $1,000 a month, right? We need to not just to throw that away.
So let me follow up with this. You've had conversations about goals and where everything is at and kind of what you want your future to look like. How do you guys manage your day to day? Did you guys combine your households? Did your joint your accounts into single joint accounts? Did you keep everything separate? Did you create a joint account and then have separate accounts, but you funnel the main expenses into the joint account? Because those are kind of probably the three most common ways that you'll hear people describe how they handle finances.
Yeah. We chose to just do one account, easiest that way for us. We are very aligned with our feelings on money, right? And we've had that conversation. So everything goes into one account, everything comes out of one account. We have credit cards that are, a credit card that is shared. All expenses go onto that. So that's the easiest way to do it. You and I have seen it done 25 different ways, right? And so perhaps it sounds like oversimplifying it to do it this way, but I do think that it's the best way. I think that it's not as common perhaps as it used to be to just combine everything, and that's for a multitude of reasons. But being married it's about more than money, but it kind of like all of your goals are shared, and you need
they should be shared anyways, right?
Yeah, they should. Right, exactly. And if money helps you achieve your goals, I feel like that should be shared and joint as well.
I know we've talked about this. The 3 different kind of ways you can handle finances. I am fully on board with you're getting married. Everything should be joint, and you should do it right away. I think we've seen it done before. It's an easy way out to say, oh, we're just going to keep everything separate. She's got her income. I've got my income. And, we decided how we're going to split, who pays for what, and we're all good, and we're just going to keep it this way. I think that's the easy way out, and I think it's going to lead to problems in the future. At some point, something's going to come up, right? Somebody's going to lose a job. Somebody's going to have a medical issue. You have kids. Somebody's going to end up staying home from work and staying home with the kids. And now you're going to add a whole bunch of stress and a whole bunch of things that you need to figure out at that point. Take having kids and deciding to have one person stay home. Are we asking for an allowance from the spouse now? Like, how are we doing that? It's just creating stress. At some point, you're going to have to figure out how to run a household with finances jointly together. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have each, your own little spending money for gifts to the other one and things that you want to splurge on. But if your finances aren't joint and aligned and you don't do it right away, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, even if the other way that I've seen it that seems to be fairly becoming more and more popular is what you just said, where there's everything feeds into this joint account, but perhaps there's for lack of a better word, allowance on both sides that gets to be spent with no questions asked. And I think that is fine. I think that even in a joint account, taking out, if you left it in one account, there is still kind of that same mentality. It's just not split out, right? Everyone, what you can spend every month. So why do you need a separate account?
You mentioned some of the efficiencies of getting married in finances. We don't both have to have a subscription to Netflix. We both don't have to have internet. We both don't have to pay rent, right? All of these things are now consolidated down into one. And this is going to go along.
Your car insurance goes down when you get married. Mine. I added a car and a driver. Insurance down. How about that?
See,
I'm now more responsible, just like that.
Just like that, more responsible. Look at that. Wow. Isn't that a prime example of how a side effect of getting married is what I like to call supercharging your finances, supercharging what your savings rate is at. It's also the exact reason why there's never going to be a better time to figure out how to have the hard conversations about finances and combining them and having joint finances right off the gate. That's because you have all these savings. You have built-in savings. So if both people continue to spend at the same rate they were before they were married, and now all of a sudden they have these huge expenses that are just added income, you're going to be in a situation where you're going to be a net saver if you both continue to spend the exact same way you are. So it allows you both to get used to each other's spending, seeing it, and then collectively growing from there. It just makes so much sense. It's a way to get yourself started off really on a great foot to get those immediate and long-term goals in place and to get used to each other. Don't wait for the added stress of something else that's happening in your life to figure out how the heck you're going to handle finances. That's setting yourself up for arguments that don't end well. I think money arguments are probably, I don't know if they're the leading cause of divorce, but they're probably, I think they're up there, right? There's just so many things out there that you can avoid by jump in early, get ahead of your finances, combine it together. If you're saying I do and you're spending the rest of life with somebody, then I don't know how you plan and truly plan together if you're going to keep everything separate. What's something unexpected as it relates to money that you've gone through or seen or didn't realize would be the case having combined your finances in the last 6 months?
I mean, one thing that jumps out immediately to me is like for us, we had been living on our own for, 10 years approximately. And you get used to doing it your way, and not having anyone kind of ask any questions. And you also maybe don't audit yourself, right? Your monthly expenses kind of fall in this acceptable range, and you don't really even check your statements necessarily. I would say one unexpected thing for us that happened was we both found like a fair amount of waste, kind of drag that we had been paying for maybe and not being super intentional about it. It was just an expense. It's one of those, do I need it? Do I not? Subscriptions are a big one. And you put your credit card in one time and you get charged every month, right? And it wasn't I don't think either of us were terrible on that, but there was some definite waste in kind of our spending. And when you combine everything up, right, you cancel cards, you cancel that subscription. And the beautiful thing about it is, in order to get it again, you have to resubscribe on the new joint account, right? So you have to it forces that conversation of, hey, are we going to use this? Is this what we want? And I think that's just kind of a microcosm of everything about combining things up. It forces a conversation. It forces you to be on the same page about what you are both doing with your money. It eliminates the mine versus yours, right?
One thing I have seen with subscriptions, it seems like everything we do these days is subscription based, right? TV, Netflix, HBO, Hulu, Audible for books, everything we're in a subscription based world.
You can get a budgeting tool that's subscription based.
It's kind of ironic, right?
I know.
And I think one thing I have done, I haven't done this whole, to an extreme, but honestly, I don't have a perfect, but let's do it this. Every 2 years, take every subscription you have and cancel it. Every last subscription. And then re-add them as you realize, hey, I really need this. Okay, so I get it. Your Netflix is probably going to turn on right away. My YouTube TV is going to turn on right away. One of my news subscriptions is going to turn on right away. But I'm going to be like, oh, HBO, I never use. I turned that on 7 months ago to get one movie, and I was, to get it for free if I started a 7-day trial and I forgot to cancel. And, here's another subscription I started, but I don't know. I haven't looked or tried to use it in 60 days now. So you know what? I'm going to resist the urge to sign up for it now because I literally haven't used it for the last 67 days, right? And it lets you reset and really force you to mentally think about doing it. And if you turn it back on, it takes 30 seconds to turn it back on. So I think it's a really easy way to go through and just kind of realize what you have out there for subscriptions, because it's a lot. I mean, if you actually start jotting down what subscriptions you have, it's way more than 3 or 4. They're everywhere.
It's probably 3 or 4 that you use, but and over time, I mean, that's the thing. Right, someone could be listening and being like, "Oh, really? You think $9.99 a month's killing me?" No, it's not, right? But over time, $9.99 times 4 or 5 things that you don't need times 12 months, that adds up.
For sure, yeah.
And it's just waste.
It's not about oh, this is gonna make or break your goals. It's just a matter of, something we always talk about, being conscious about what we're doing and being, making sure we're being intentional about our spending, which I guess, if we want to kind of jump into a slightly different topic, right? Finding your why before the numbers find you. Kind of what we've been seeing, people start to accumulate a lot of money. Your jobs go up, you're making several $100,000 a year. You're starting to save money. Your spending hasn't gone up, but entirely, but you haven't necessarily really sat down and what's my why? What is my due north? What do I care about? What is really important in my life, right? If your income doubles tomorrow, what would actually change about how you live? Or what does enough look like to you? Have you ever defined it? Are we building towards something specific or just building, right? These are a lot of questions I like to start to elicit from families we work with. Like, let's really think about what we're doing with the money, and what we want to do with the money. What do we want that life to look like? And I don't mean that life in 20 or 30 years. I know the basics of what everyone talks about when we talk about planning is retirement of some nature, retiring early, reducing our work hours early. Yes, that's obviously important, but I think it's what we try and preach is, hey, what's your due north? What's your why? And I don't mean what do you want to do in 30 years, but what's important now and what's going to continue to be important now and in the future. And usually that gravitates towards, family, a specific hobby, friends, experiences, right? Types of experiences and those types of things are always slightly different for everyone, but those are the general gravitational pulls that you see, right?